things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
You had me at hello.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Good morning and welcome to the Gary Sutton Show on a Thursday morning. It is Pack the Park for Kindness Day here at the stadium, and tonight we're going to pack the park for kindness for the Rebs game with High Point tonight. We'll tell you more about how they did last night on that in just a moment, but it is a great day here for York, and welcome to the Main Street of York and York County. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, the voice of York and York County. Mark McKenzie with you this morning. I am Gary Sutton, and so honored to be with you each and every day live from Brooks Robinson Plaza right here at Wellspan Park in downtown York, Pennsylvania, where we talk about all the things you're talking about out there on the main streets of York and York County. All brought to you this morning by our presenting sponsors, kindnessworldwide.org, the sponsors of tonight's shindig here at the stadium. What are you going to do to bring more kindness into your sphere of influence today? Be the good, see the good. Go the extra mile. I was explaining to someone last night about what kindness is all about because he was not aware of Kindness Worldwide. And he said, well, that's a pretty good thing. I said, most people are, do kind things, but this is kind of a focused thing on going the extra mile and maybe seeing even more opportunities around to try to change the narrative in the country from the polar discussion on all the negative stuff to something far more positive in the long run. And that's what Kindness Worldwide is all about, a global nonprofit with a vision to create a culture of kindness in communities throughout the world. And Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law, are our other presenting sponsor tonight. Ann Stein and Sparler have been practicing law here in York since 1937. And when it comes to estate planning, estate administration, elder law, business law, municipal law, military law, even family law, Ann Stein and Sparler is looking for people to come in from Main Street, York County, whatever Main Street or any street that you live on. And they are ready to represent you and help you with legal advice in those kinds of moments. They're located at 117 East Market Street, right here in York. Their phone is 717-846-8811. That's 717-846-8811. You can call them between 8:30 and 5, Monday through Friday, and they are ready to help you. Our text line, 833-478-4729. Question for you on the text line today. What do you get out of radio that you don't get out of anything else? And I ask that because today is National Radio Day. What do you get from radio that you don't get from any other medium that you use? And why do you listen to radio? That's a question on our text line today. And so you can go there. And at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, the other question is, what is the kindest thing that you've ever done for anyone or the kindest thing that you've ever had done for you? Answer that question today on Pack the Park for Kindness Day. The kindest thing you've ever done for anyone or the kindest thing that has ever been done for you. At Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, also on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can answer the question right there. Today is National Radio Day, and 15 days until Labor Day weekend, 21 days until the NFL season officially starts with the opening regular season game. And with that, we turn this morning to Mark McKenzie. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning. Hello? Oh, there it is. Good morning. That was weird. Can you hear it?
Yes, I hear it fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. For some reason, that's not coming through my... Why isn't it coming through my headphones?
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, good morning. Sorry about that. Welcome. Are you ready for Bacon Lovers Day?
I just did some Bacon Lovers Day. I stopped by Dunkin' Donuts. I got their sweet, spicy black pepper bacon. I get a little. It's called bacon snacks, and they have these two little things, and I imbibed. I did my part today.
So it's what, pieces of bacon?
Yeah, just pieces of bacon in a little wrapper thing, and so it's just protein and nothing else with it.
Okay, it sounds fun.
It's pretty good. It's called snackin' bacon. Snackin' bacon.
Snackin' bacon.
Yeah,
all right.
Very catchy.
I was at Costco the other day, and they had this 20-ounce bag of bacon bits. I mean, I was like, wow, why? And it was like $10.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why buy strips of bacon and cook it when I can just
it's already done.
I can sprinkle on as much as I want.
There it is. And not think twice about it.
Exactly. And it's also one of my favorite drinks, Lemonade Day.
You know, I used to be a big lemonade fan, and I'm not anymore, and I don't know why exactly. I've kind of lost it.
My tip would be
Go ahead.
to what I would do is mix it with water. Because what a lot of people do these days, it's really sweet.
Oh, I like it with water.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, it doesn't. I start drinking it, and then I get bored. I don't
get bored?
I get bored with it. Yeah, I don't know. Isn't that weird? But yeah, I mean, not the first weird thing I've ever talked about, but it's. I'm just saying.
Yes.
It just kind of gets me.
So lots of things have happened on this date. And I'm telling you, today is one of those days. For example, how about this for a starter? It was on this date in the year, so it's August 20th, 480 BC. And it is the Battle of Thermopylae.
Yes.
Now-
Let's see. Was that the 300?
Exactly. Yes, if you ever saw the movie.
Against the Assyrians.
Yes. And Leonidas I blocked the pass. He was trying to stop the invading Persian army under Xerxes
Yes.
the first. He had like 120 to 300,000.
It was ridiculous.
Yes, but because he had the ground and they had the fighting tactics, they were able to stop them to a point. But in the end, we know what happened.
Yeah, they eventually were just, overwhelmed.
But the story is a great story, and it's been made into movies, books, all kinds of interesting things. On this date,
Who's the guy? Gerald
Butler.
Butler played the part of
It's still one of,
Leonidas.
he's still one of the, I mean,
still-
in the movie 300, yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's also the guy who was in the Broadway, well, it wasn't the Broadway, it was the movie version of Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
And that was him singing.
You had told me that before, and I did not realize he had such a good singing voice.
If you watch some of the videos, you're like, yeah, that is him singing. So it's kind of amazing. And he was the first one to say, maybe this isn't a good idea. But this is how
Well,
strange.
he sang in the Phantom of the Opera. He didn't kill anybody, so it's unbelievable.
I guess.
He kills people in every movie he's in, like White
Pretty
House
much.
Down and
That's
all that.
right.
Yeah, so.
And now he's the disaster guy.
Yeah.
He's been in 2 Greenland movies.
That's right, yeah.
He was in Geostorm. I think there was one other one. He's the disaster guy. On this date now, so we're jumping ahead roughly 2,000 years. But I only mention it because it's one of the weirdest things that I have ever seen in doing this feature. In the year 1672, August 20th, former Grand Pensionary of Holland, Johann de Witt, and his brother Cornelius are brutally murdered. Now, I don't know why. They must have done something bad. But here's the thing. The mob, after beating them to death, pulled out their livers and allegedly cooked and ate them.
There's a lot going on there.
This is Holland, the Hague and all that.
It's not just a matter of not liking him. Good grief.
What? And I hate liver. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, my Lord.
All right, let's just go.
Thanks for that story.
Yeah, really.
That'll be a nice visual to
It
keep
does.
in mind throughout the day.
It does get better.
It's one thing you can say today. Well, it could be worse.
It could
have been these brothers.
That's right.
There you go. So I guess you could say that's pretty much granite level right there.
Maybe onions. Maybe they had onions.
No, stop.
1858, Rudolf Virchow's groundbreaking medical text, Cellular Pathology, is published in Berlin. And the reason why that's interesting is because it established the basis of modern medical science. So they built out from there. 1866, President Andrew Johnson issues a proclamation, number 157. And a lot of people don't think about this, but it was August 20th, 1866, that the U.S. Civil War officially ended.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also declared the insurrection in Texas over.
Right.
That proclamation did both. On this date in 1882, Peter, I guess is how you pronounce that, Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture debuts in Moscow.
That everybody plays now. Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
1940, boy, we made a big jump there. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill paid tribute to the Royal Air Force, saying,
Never of so many.
oh, do it in a voice.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Never in the field of human conflict
Hang on a second. I gotta go to the rest of it.
Yeah.
was so much owed to so few.
No, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about if it as Neil Diamond?
No.
Let's go backward. For some reason, I misplaced that.
And he was talking there about the Royal Air Force,
Yes.
who had fought over the Battle of Britain, over the skies of Britain. Yeah.
Yes, we've been mentioning
As the
that.
German, the Nazis were flying there. Who's the head of the Nazi Air Force?
The Luftwaffe was Goering, the
Hermann
big guy.
Hermann Goering.
Yeah.
Who, it's hard to imagine Hermann Goering fitting into a plane.
He did.
Although at a younger time, he was a well decorated flyer
He
back
was a
in
hero,
World War
national
One.
hero. Yeah, he was
Oh,
there were no GLP drugs.
No.
1896 on August 20th, the dial telephone is patented. And
Okay.
who can forget the
Right. Takes about a half an hour to
Yes.
dial your favorite person. Yeah.
Yes. In 1908, on this date, America's Great White Fleet arrives in Sydney, Australia. I know there's been talk about,
Right.
our aircraft carrier in the Gulf or the
Abraham
Strait of
Lincoln.
Hormuz.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this one, they arrived in Sydney, Australia. Here's the thing: they loved it. The people there, they were applauding. They came out for the ships. They
Right.
were cheering, and 221 American sailors deserted.
Oh,
What?
geez. Doesn't
What?
speak well for the
Oh, my
the old Navy at that point.
Hey, do we have anybody to shovel coal?
Yeah. Yeah, we like Australia a lot more than you like our ship.
That's
so here you
crazy.
go. Isn't that amazing?
On this date in
You just need
1920,
to know why they deserted. What went on there?
a lot of these stories, if I had more time,
They've got deep histories.
I want to know about the livers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a story we need to know more about.
American Professional Football Association forms with President Jim Thorpe. Now, most of you don't remember American Professional Football Association, but that later became the NFL,
Yes.
for what it's worth. On this date, 1938, Yankees future Hall of Famer, first baseman Lou Gehrig, hit another grand slam. Actually, it was his last one. How many did he hit?
I'm not sure.
I mean, what would be an odd number? Just like
I'm thinking he hit 500.
No, I'm saying
you
how
mean-
many? How many grand slams?
Oh, how many grand slams? I think
Yes.
he hit 5.
23.
Get out. Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
23 in an era when really only Babe Ruth. There were a handful of people hitting homers, let alone grand slams. Let's jump way ahead to 1974. On this date, August 20th, big day. Nelson Rockefeller became vice president.
Okay. Yeah.
Ford needed
Ford
one.
needed a vice president because he stepped in for Nixon, and then they brought Rockefeller in as his vice president.
and he didn't last.
And he didn't last for real long either. What was amazing about that, one of those great trivia questions, who was the only president who was never elected to vice president or president? It was Gerald Ford. Yeah. Never elected to either one. Yeah, he lost an election later on to Jimmy Carter, but he did not ever get elected on his own merit.
That's because Agnew had to resign.
Agnew had to resign also, but yeah.
It was on this date, the same day. Nolan Ryan, they were going to try out this new radar gun. And they said, he's one of the best pitchers. So let's see how fast his pitch is going. And Nolan Ryan was the first guy to have a fastball clocked at over 100 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
That's why he was good.
Nolan Ryan. And it's known as the Ryan Express. Yep, there it was.
1977 on this date, Voyager 2 was sent up into space. It had a gold phonographic record that had welcome in like 55 languages. It includes all kinds of sound effects, music.
Right.
But nobody's responded yet. Just in case you didn't know
Can you
that.
imagine sending all these languages out and people going like, what is that? I mean, the people getting the reception on the other end, we don't know any of them.
So you're right. So
We have our own language. Come on.
If you do 55, you're listening to it saying, what kind of civilization is this?
Yeah.
Anyway.
There you go.
Moving along, just three more. This is where the term comes from. The term is going postal.
Right.
On this date, 1986, postal worker Patrick Sherrill shoots 14 co-workers dead.
Yep.
Edmund Oklahoma. 1989, Jose Menendez and his wife Kitty shot to death in their Beverly Hills home, and of course their sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric and Lyle were
Menendez, yep.
I have to end on a positive, and you'll like this. 2000 PGA Championship. It is Tiger Woods, and he won back-to-back PGA titles, becoming the first, though, to win 3 majors in a calendar year in almost 50 years, since Ben Hogan in 1953. That just told you, if you didn't know, how special he was.
He was in a planet of his own.
He was the Michael Jordan of golf.
Oh yeah, easily. He was, he was, and the only guy to really ever talk about him, you could talk about the same sentence to date, would be Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods were the 2 greatest, and everybody else is like pales by comparison. There are a lot of great names, like Ben Hogan and people like that, but those 2 stand in the penthouse. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show, and we'll find out about how the Rebs did last night and game number 2 of this big series with High Point, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
It's the 0-2. And a swing and a high drive to deep left center. This one's got a chance. It is gone! Jackson Ross, a home run to left center. Number 16 of the year for him. And we are tied 1-1 here in the second inning. Revs lead at 8-6 here in the seventh. Pitch, he swings and drives it to deep left center. This one is gone. Mike Rosario leaves the yard. Opposite field home run. It is his 14th of the year. And on his third hit of the night, the Revs add a run to the lead. It's 9-6 here in the seventh. Swinging a ground ball, rolled softly to short. Ramirez up the middle. He gloves, sets, sidearms, got him. That's it. Revs win back-to-back games, a 10-6 final tonight. And on this night, they matched their biggest comeback win of the year. From down 4, they score the final 8 in this game. And they will keep the lead in the North right where it is. 3 games up in first place with 22 to go.
And that's because Long Island beat Lancaster last night like 9-1, I think. But the Revs dominant. I mean, I was looking at some of the batting averages this morning, Mark. Brian Ray leads the Atlantic League with an average of 346. And then you have one guy, then you have Nick Dunn from the Revs, 334. Then you have Nick Lucky from Lancaster, who somehow squeezed in there at 333. Then Otasaka from the Revs at 330, and Teeter from the Revs at 330. 4 guys batting 330 or better.
Amazing.
RBI department, Brian Ray with 101 RBIs for the season. He's second to Lavigna of Gastonia, who has 106. Teeter is third at 97, and then Nick Dunn checks in at fifth at 92. So the numbers are gaudy for the Revs. But they won last night 10-6. They came from behind again. They improved to 37-16 here at Wellspan Park, where they are 19-5 since June 21st. Now, the 4-run comeback is the Revs' third of the year and first since June 3rd versus Charleston. And so there you go. Another thing. The series continues tonight. It is Pack the Park night tonight. We're hoping the showers are all cleared away by then. As right-handed pitcher Zach Mort makes his home debut against High Point. So his first debut tonight comes out here against High Point righty Matt Colucci, who's pretty good, by the way, 4-5. It is Wellspan Neuro Night, Pack the Park night, most importantly, presented by Kindness Worldwide, featuring a T-shirt giveaway presented by Kindness Worldwide to the first 1,000 fans. And that's all going on tonight. Get your tickets today if you haven't already done so at YorkRevolution.com or call 717-801-HITS, HITS, and in person at the Shipley Energy Ticket Office. Get those tickets. Get on out here and join us tonight. Mark will be out here tonight. I'll be here. Looking forward to, I know the mayor is coming out tonight with us, Sandy Walker. I'm getting to throw out a first pitch tonight, which I've never done before. Haven't practiced. I got to work on that later today.
Will they let you do it with a club?
You know what? I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about bringing my putter out and putting the ball down to the catcher. I'd have a better shot with that, I think. Although it probably wouldn't go to the place when I was aiming. But there you go. Yeah, well. That's another story. So there.
We have, we've been talking about a lot of history. How about we talk a little bit of current events? The biggest story in Pennsylvania this morning is what happened not that far away from us. So rather than wait for the news, check this story out.
It happened when the Cessna veered off course and struck the hovering state police helicopter alongside the runway at the Carlisle, Pennsylvania airport.
Yeah, we have 1 dead, and we have 2 officers, 2 state troopers are injured. What else with the story?
Airport Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thousands of brave women and men put on the uniform of the state police every day, and they leave their homes and they go out to keep us safe.
The crash so violent, the plane was cut into pieces. The chopper came down on its side, trapping the troopers in it. Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Yeah, it was at, I didn't realize that Carlisle had an airport.
Me neither. I thought it was HIA, and he just misstated
someone
it.
just didn't know. And when I heard that this morning, I thought exactly the same thing. But a small airplane collided with a Pennsylvania State Police helicopter, Carlisle Airport. Governor Josh Shapiro and State Police Acting Commissioner Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens delivered an update on the crash. The Cessna 150 airplane and a Pennsylvania State Police Bell 407 helicopter collided in midair around 6:50 p.m. yesterday. The troopers were conducting a routine training exercise when the approaching Cessna veered into the helicopter, resulting in what Bivens described as a violent crash. And Mark described that as well a few moments ago. He stated that the crash left the helicopter without its top and rear rotors, trapping both troopers inside. Authorities believe the pilot was the only person aboard the Cessna. Their identity has not yet been released. State police and other emergency responders arrived at the airport shortly after collision. And, of course, Governor Shapiro, as you heard, credited their rapid response with saving the troopers' lives. The troopers, the injured troopers, are Corporal Bryce Corman and Trooper Jason Mills. Hershey Medical Center Dr. Ashley Ludwig said the troopers suffered minor injuries and are stable. One was expected to be released later that last night, while officials said the other remained hospitalized for observation. And it could have been a lot worse. I mean, there's no question about that. There's a federal investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. They started doing an investigation on Wednesday night. But I'm looking here at the Carlisle Airport. This is not like Carlisle International Airport, okay? I mean, it's pretty... it looks pretty much like York Airport is what it looks like, okay? Relatively small.
Small one, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened. Witnesses reported hearing a loud bang and seeing debris from the two aircraft scattered across the ground. One witness said she saw an injured person placed on a stretcher and transported from the scene by Lifeline. So it's unfortunate, but right there at Carlisle Airport, this all happened last night.
So coming up in the next half hour,
yes,
we have birthdays. And I have a number of stories, but one I can't wait to discuss a little bit, or at least find out more about. But the headline is LinkedIn, right? You have a LinkedIn page,
yes,
right?
we do. Yeah.
All right. LinkedIn is being used for dating?
And Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, comes up next as we talk about, hey, here's a celebration. We just hit $40 trillion in debt. How long did it take to get there? 5 months. 5 months. Yeah, we'll talk about why we're having that debt problem and what we should do about it with Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, who joins us next at 6:35 on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning, right here on WOYK. Mark McKenzie with you. I am Gary Sutton. Don't forget, tonight is Packed Apart for Kindness night. Hopefully the showers will be away by then. We're going to have all kinds of people getting out here tonight to celebrate kindness, as well as hopefully another Revs victory here this evening. And we welcome you to come out, and I look forward to seeing a lot of people out here this evening. I'm getting to throw out the first pitch tonight. I haven't thrown out a first pitch ever. So I got to go home and practice today, or otherwise I might throw out my arm also. But we'll see. Because should I go out and pitch from the regular mound, Mark, or should I move up to the amateur mound?
Is that what they do?
Yeah, they move you up, and then they got like the kiddie mound where maybe that's where I should go.
Well, you know what I would do? Maybe measure it out and see what your dexterity is for. The official one, and if it's not, then there's no embarrassment because they have a special one for
old people and stuff like that.
I would go for a 60-degree wedge. That's
like I said, I was going to grab my putter and just putt the ball to the guy at home plate, but who knows? With that, we turn to Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street this morning. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm getting to throw out a first pitch tonight here at the stadium. I've never thrown out a first pitch. Have you ever thrown out a first pitch anywhere?
I have not, but that sounds like fun, man. Congrats, it's going to be good. But you gotta throw from the real mound.
Well, that's
crying out loud.
That's what I'm saying. You think I should throw it underhand? I don't know. I'd have to give up my man card if I did that. So
yes, you would.
Yeah, I know. I knew the response I was going to get from you on that one. So I will go overhand just because Chris Markowski will be in my head. Talking about that. Hey, got to be proud today. We hit $40 trillion in U.S. debt. And, a lot of people are wondering what is it that causes this? And we hear about, structural deficits and all that kind of stuff. Explain to people. And what's incredible on this, we got here in 5 months. 5 months ago, we were lamenting $39 trillion. Here we are now, $40 trillion. I remember it wasn't too long ago, we were just talking about $33 trillion, and it's going crazy. What's going on?
A little perspective. It took us 200 years to hit $1 trillion.
Yeah.
200 years to get to $1 trillion, and that's where we're at, $40 trillion right now. And a little perspective added to this. Every person in America pays $4,000 a year in interest on this debt. Yeah, so your family of four is paying $16,000 in interest on this every single year, and it's getting kind of hairy out there, to say the least. You had the Treasury Secretary institute something like they want to call it Operation Twist. As actually first done during the Kennedy administration to try to goose the economy. This right now, he's doing it to basically keep 30-year and 10-year rates down, and they came down a little bit yesterday, but they're back up again today. Basically, what he's doing is he's going out and he's retiring 30-year debt. So, well, that's good. Well, it's good how? We don't have the money to retire. If you're paying down a credit card, that's good. But if you pay off one credit card with another credit card, it's not. Not to mention the fact the debt that he's retiring is lower interest debt. Why would you retire to lower interest debt? Because he has no choice. He's basically looking to remove supply from the market so he can issue more, so the rates don't climb. I don't know. It looks like the Federal Reserve is going to have to get back into quantitative easing, which means much, much higher inflation. And they said that that's not something they were going to do. You had the Vice President of the United States in an interview basically saying that our reserve currency status might not actually be a good thing, which quite frankly scared the you-know-what out of me.
Right.
Because that means basically, maybe they're looking at default down the road. Remember, we weren't always this point. You remember the sun never set on the British Empire?
Right.
They used to be the reserve currency. And then look what happened to that country. Is that going to be our way out? And if that's the case, you're looking at a very, very different country. The reason why we're able to build is because we have access to capital. You're not the reserve currency anymore. We're not going to be as dynamic, that's for sure.
So you got the soaring interest cost, which you talked about, is costing us an amount of money every year. People go, I don't know about that. We're not really paying for it. Yeah, you are. And the annual deficit borrowing, creating a compounding cycle where debt generates more debt. But then one of the things that's happening, too, and this is something that people don't talk about a lot, we got an aging population. that obviously is driving up mandatory outlays on programs like Social Security and Medicare, right? I mean, that's a big thing that people need to look at as well. And how are we going to fix that to meet the needs of a large group of baby boomers who are heading for the exit door, right?
Yeah, I hate being the bearer of bad news. I really don't. But, those are 1 and 2 as far as the budget is concerned. Number 3 is interest on our debt.
Right.
At this point in time. Those are the spending. We have 168 million Americans. Half the country is receiving a government check right now.
Right.
And it's why I got a kick out of this whole socialist thing. We've been socialists for a long time. I said half the country is getting a government check. Now, this happened to Europe. Go back to 2010. We talked about this back then.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting old. Dating ourselves in decades.
Right.
But yeah, we talked about this. And Europe was a little different because it was the Southern European countries. They can't print their own money like we can, but they had massive cuts to all of their welfare programs, all of that stuff. They got cut to the bone. I noticed my wife's family, their retirement benefits slashed. I don't see any other way out at this point in time. It's either that or, again, you lose a world reserve currency status, and then, someone else will take that spot. Money will go to China. I don't know. But that's where we're at right now. I mean, the problem is real. It's been real. What's that? Anyway, as the sun also sets, how you become bankrupt, gradually, then all of a sudden, that's where we're at.
Right. You also look at taxes, and there's a great debate about long-term and recent federal tax cuts. They say have reduced incoming government revenue, obviously, relative to ongoing spending commitments. So when you have, I'm not real good at math, but I know this. If you have more money going out than you have coming in, you got a problem. And so are tax cuts, what's the role they play in all this? And also, looking at the other side, how about tax spending on the various carve-outs that, congressmen and senators and so forth bring in, the special programs that we're paying for, and, maybe lack of accountability there. How do you see that in terms of tax cuts and tax spending?
Yes, they're collecting record revenues. It's the revenue, and revenues don't matter. And then you get people talking about, wealth taxes, and they sound. It's the dumbest thing in the entire world to tax something that, first and foremost, that can move. Not to mention the fact that if you own stock, if you're taxing, let's say CEO of XYZ, and you're saying he's got to pay a 5% wealth tax, he has to sell that stock to convert it to cash, which will make the value go down. And anybody with half a brain out there is going to know that he's going to have to sell. You can call it, W day, in this wealth day.
Right.
They're going to account for it. People are going to front run that, drive those stocks down so they have to pay less in taxes. It's just going to be one big manipulation game, for crying out loud. Just because it sounds good doesn't mean it's workable, for crying out loud. It's so moronic at its face. It's a stock, the value. So you think Elon Musk was worth $1 trillion. Now he's worth this. Think about that movement, okay? It's what the value is of something. It's not cash. It's not a casino chip, okay? You don't go
right.
and turn in a certain amount of shares and get it. You hit the bid, and then the bid drops.
So that's
how it works.
Here's the question, Chris. So, I don't even know what $1 trillion looks like. I'm not even sure I know what $1 billion or $1 million looks like, but I know this. 40 trillion is a lot of money. Where do we start to go if we wanted to? And I'm not sure we have the desire to do that. Where do we go to start to get a grip on this and do something about turning it around? Is there anything that you could see from a common sense standpoint that would be a first step?
Right, yeah, we have to raise the retirement age, have to reform Social Security. Rand Paul, what was it, about 8 years ago, had his 1 penny plan. Shave 1 penny from every dollar of government spending, we would be on the right track now. Now it's 6 pennies, okay?
Yeah.
You do those things, okay, right away, the bond market would take notice. Right away, our borrowing costs would go down because saying, the United States is going to start being fiscally prudent. But we're not. You got idiots calling for a $1.5 billion defense budget, for crying out loud. We don't have it. It's just not doable. It's stupid, quite frankly. And then they'll say, we got tariffs. No, it doesn't. It's not going to work. You know, if the Fed starts doing quantitative easing again, people, you're paying every single time you buy something. The price of everything is going to continue to go up. It is what it is.
You know, you mentioned about how much we're collecting in taxes, and for fiscal year 2026, the federal government is projected to collect $5.6 trillion in revenue while spending about $7.4 trillion. That results in a deficit of roughly $1.9 trillion, according to the Congressional Budget Office. I mean, when you put it into real numbers, in other words, the government is spending roughly $1.33 for every $1 collected. It's kind of amazing when you put it in those kind of understandable numbers.
And then the president comes out and says that we should be paying the lowest interest costs in the world. By what metric?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, I mean, again, it's not like the Federal Reserve sets the rates, okay? The bond market does. This is why the rates are going. It's what people are willing. They're going to say, no, I'm not going to lend money to the United States at this rate because it's obscene. They're $40 trillion in debt, and they're not doing anything that would be that make any sense whatsoever. The Federal Reserve, I try to explain it to people this way. When I was a kid, my brothers and I would take like a soccer ball, and we'd be in a pool or in the water, and try to see if we can bring it to the bottom. You know, and you couldn't. You know, the ball would go out of your hands and go up. That's what the Federal Reserve has been doing, is basically trying to keep this ball underwater with all of this money printing for a period of time. They can't do it forever. They can't. And you know, that thing specs back, you're talking 13, 14% interest rates.
The one thing we do know at the end of all this, the federal debt's going to lower the standard of living for every American. I mean, basically, that's the way it is, right? I mean, you're going to have the amount of interest you're paying as rising rates filter through the economy. I mean, the cost of living has got to squeeze household budgets even tighter, doesn't it?
Well, again, remember that Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. It's going to be Don't Cry for Me, United States. The same situation. The value of your money is going to go away. I've been talking about this going all the way back to George W. Bush with the wars and everything and the spending. And I said, listen, if you don't own assets, if you're not putting your money to work, you're making a mistake. There's an old saying, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. No, it's a sprint.
Yeah.
You have to outrun inflation. It's a sprint. It's not a marathon.
And especially now when you see how quickly the debt goes up over 5 months, 39 to 40. Unbelievable story this morning. Chris, always good talking to you, my friend. Thank you so much for making some sense out of this for us. Looking forward to next Thursday with you, okay, man?
You got it. Have a good one.
Hey, have a great rest of the week. Take care, Chris. Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street. Big story this morning, $40 trillion in debt now, the United States, and happened in 5 months. I mean, so as he said, it's now become a sprint, not just a marathon. Marathon in many ways, but a sprint in others. Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street, with us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. We'll take a break. We'll come back. And what do we have around the corner here, Mark?
Birthdays.
Birthdays coming up next, all here on WOYK.
wake up, sunshine. Let me feel your warm sunlight on me. Can't have you hiding. Night was long and night was cold, but today we're one day older. Sunshine, you make my life sunshine.
Now, that's not Jimmy Pankow.
That's
there.
Chicago, right?
Yes, there's a calf there. But Jimmy Pankow, one of the co-founders of Chicago, he's the trombone player.
Yes.
And so you have some affinity for him.
Yep, exactly. And an outstanding trombone player, yeah.
He's the guy who, when he's on stage, he whips that thing around. I mean, he's like, moving left and right, and you give him some space.
Yeah, I saw some sad news this morning.
Well, wait a second. I got some other birthdays.
Oh,
I mean, he's 79. Okay. Robert Plant is 78.
Right.
Andrew Garfield, the actor, 43. Amy Adams. Always get her confused with a couple of other actresses who look very similar. She's 52.
Okay.
Joan Allen, 70. Al Roker, 72. Connie Chung is 80.
Yeah.
Now, your story?
Yeah, I was just looking here, a couple of interesting stories. Where a lot of people heard about Sophie Cunningham. This girl plays for Indiana Fever Guards, and she's the one that came out and she was asked about transgenders, and she basically said, I'm guarding women's sports. I want women to play against women. Okay, when she came out now, she's supposedly a hater because of that. Although she comes across as, I've watched her talk a couple of times, comes across as anything but. I guess it was last night, they're playing up in Canada. And I believe it was against the Toronto Tempo. So it's her first trip to Canada, and Sophie Cunningham's in the backcourt. And so she got booed. She comes out and gets a hostile reception. And here was the response after the game. Quote, I want to shout out the Tempo crowd in the city, Cunningham said after Indiana's 101-95 victory. It's my first time being in Canada, but the crowd was absolutely amazing. I think that's what sports is all about. You're going to get boos and you're going to get cheers, but just the fact they're so passionate, they're loud, and they're putting on for the city, I think it's amazing, unquote. And the praise stands out because some Toronto fans had booed her over her previous comments regarding transgender athletes in women's sports. The 30-year-old never appeared rattled by the reception, however, and answered the hostility with one of her most important performances of the season. She had a couple big threes when Toronto was coming back on Indiana last night, on a night where Caitlin Clark did not have a great night. And she finished with 13 points and a couple assists off the bench. She made all three of her attempts from beyond the arc. She was 3 for 3 and went 4 for 5 at the free throw line. So, that's the kind of response I love to see from people when they're being booed and stuff. Answer with your performance. And then she rose above the whole controversy after the game when she was asked in the press conference about all that. She said, I'm just here. Whatever the team needs of me, I'm going to do. That's what it's all about. Owning that's what it means to be the ultimate team pro. So, the juxtaposed to the crowd's reaction, she looks like she has an awful lot of class right there. So there you go.
Well, the way she handled it was good.
Yes.
But is Zohan Mamdani, is that how you say it, Mamdani?
Yes.
He had a news conference yesterday, and he took a lot of heat from one particular person, the one that I saw. And the guy was talking, he had a lot of complaints. And then it was Mamdani's chance to speak, and he said, "You're right. I have to do better."
Well, there you go. I mean, see, I like some humbleness. I like that from officials. You don't see humbleness and
humility and
politicians colliding much of the same sentence.
That's right.
But there you go. So anyway,
all right. So here's the thing. All right, LinkedIn. People use LinkedIn to hopefully make contacts, networking, all, getting job opportunities, all that kind of stuff. But I have never heard until now of using LinkedIn for dating.
About 1 in 4 professionals believe using LinkedIn as a dating tool can be acceptable. The survey also shows that 22% have either reached out or responded to someone on LinkedIn with romantic intent. The platform's guidelines, though, strictly forbid any kind of romantic advances. But guess what? It's increasingly common now for the networking site to feature in users' dating lives.
Yes, dear so-and-so, it seems that you're proficient in spreadsheets.
Yes. There it is. By the way, sad news. Sad news. Prince Harry and Meghan are moving back to Britain.
Are they?
They were here in Los Angeles area for a while, and they're moving back to Britain now. Man, what a loss. They're planning on moving back to Britain. CNN wrote this story. Understands a shock move that comes 6 years after the couple stepped back from official duties and fell out with other members of the royal family. Prince Harry and Meghan are said to be planning to relocate from the United States later this month to a private residence outside London and reportedly have enrolled their children, Prince Archie, 7, and Prince Lilibet, 5, in British schools for the coming term, according to the UK newspaper The Telegraph. King Charles was first made aware of the plans to relocate on Sunday, indicating that this was not raised nor discussed during the couple's family visit to the UK in July. The King welcomes the opportunity to see more of the Sussex family in a private and personal capacity, CNN understands. Notice how they said in a private and personal capacity. In other words, they're not getting their titles restored or anything like that. King Charles has made clear there'll be no change to the Duke and Duchess' role as private individuals and non-working members of the royal family. Scum. Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Well, speaking of gossip, did you know that reading gossip about a celebrity creates a momentary feeling in your brain that, according to research, is as good as eating great food or winning money. So you get a little bump about reading about famous people.
Yeah, I did not know that. And I didn't even feel that this last moment. So
you're welcome.
No. So there you go. Anyway, when we come back, Joel Sears checks in on policy. He's our policy guy. Every Thursday morning, he joins us to get into breaking it down for you right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And then Kim Bracey, former mayor of York, is going to talk about sexual violence and something they're doing at the YWCA to take care of that and bring more attention to it right here in York and the York area, York City and the York area, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. All of that straight ahead in the next hour right here on 98.9 FM and 1350 AM WOYK. I'm Gary Sutton, back with more after this, but first news at the top of the hour.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Toga, 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 toga.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning. This hour being brought to you by Bari Orchard. That's right. Mike and Chris DiGirolamo have created something really special here in York, right here in the heart of York City at the Central Market, and it is Bari Orchard. That's right. Quality mortadella, cheeses, meats, like speck, things like that. I tell you what, they have got a great thing going on down there right now. And if you are looking to really enjoy some wonderful things, from oils and vinegars to baked goods to the cannoli bar to Italian delicacies, things you would find at an Italian market in the Bronx, you are going to love what they're doing at Bari Orchard. You can find them at bariorchard.com. You can visit them on market days at 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. They are located right here in downtown York, and they are ready to see you. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bari Orchard. Mike and Chris DiGirolamo are the owners, and I'm telling you what, you've never met nicer people in your life, but the array of things that they have down there for you are off the charts, and you're going to love what they have for you right there at Bari Orchard, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK. Also, Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law and Kindness Worldwide, our two main presenting sponsors, are always here, and we are so proud to be joined by them each and every day. So there you go. That's where we sit right now. And we welcome in this morning Joel Sears, who is our policy guy, as we dig into what is going on as far as policy here in the country. And Joel loves to break it down like no one that I know. Good morning, Joel. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well, Gary. How about you?
Well, we're doing really well, and great to have you in this morning. So what is on your mind today? We've kind of had an ongoing discussion here recently.
Yeah, we're still peeling back layers of the DSA onion. This is the Democratic Socialists of America. They have a 20-page platform.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I think all of your listeners should take a look at. Whether you support their ideas or not, this is the blueprint. Or let's say the top level, the 30,000-foot view. We're going to talk today about essentially why it's not a blueprint. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about FedEx and how that was really, I guess, a quintessential product of a free market system that took on challenges that are almost impossible to imagine. It grew from a term paper that Fred Smith did when he was at Yale. He was a senior in college at the time. Got a C on it. Didn't seem like such a big deal. And grew that into one of the largest transportation companies in the world. It's an amazing story. Well, our friends at the DSA have decided that we need a working class democracy, and that means an economic democracy, whatever that is.
Okay.
And they break that down into two specific areas, one of which is public ownership of the largest corporations and essential industries to ensure democratic control and accountability to the people. And the second part of that is to enact aggressive wealth taxes, which, as Chris mentioned this morning, is taxes on assets. That's not taxes on income.
Right.
Wealth taxes on the richest individuals and corporations to spend on public goods and infrastructure. Okay. Well, it would seem to me that FedEx is a likely target of that platform. It is a very large corporation. It's an essential industry. So if not FedEx, who? So if we use that as our example and take the term public ownership literally, they don't define what it means. So, you can look at, let's break that down. The government could own the corporation. It could actually be a government company like NASA or something like that. The government owns it. The government appoints management and so on. It could be a public utility, right?
Right.
power company or something like that. It could be a worker cooperative, which is truly ownership by the workers. They would own it, they would control it, they would manage it, make all the hiring and firing decisions. Or it could be a nationalized private company. How's that sound?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, well, we're kind of moving in that direction now with some of the moves of the Trump administration, for example, to take a 10% stake in Intel.
Right.
So those are things that are not necessarily out of the agenda right now. In any case, the platform really doesn't tell us what it means by the largest corporations. And it doesn't say a word about the transition. Again, using FedEx just as an example, does the government go out and buy this thing at its current market value? Does it take it over with some kind of predetermined value, which is essentially a form of nationalizing, or does it just seize ownership? I mean, imagine if DSA was actually in power. I suppose they could seize ownership. They could say, this is an essential industry, we're taking it. Stockholders be damned. My sense is that wouldn't happen, but it could happen. Well, what happens to the workers? Does the government do the management? The platform is vague, to say the least. It doesn't answer some of these other fundamental questions. What happens to management? What happens to the profit?
Well,
what happens if the company loses money?
And it's vague because people don't have to answer any other questions because they're never asked. Because it goes way too far into the weeds. But say, wait a second, you want to explain out how that's going to work, and you go, I can't really do that.
The interesting part of this whole dynamic, Gary, is that these DSA candidates are making inroads by waving these grand and glorious objectives with no detail to support it. To say, well, how will this? Here I am, a worker. Let's say I am a FedEx driver. How does that affect me? Let's say I'm Boeing and I have orders for 70 aircraft. How does that affect me?
Right.
So not only does that trouble me as somebody who might work for or have investments in FedEx, what if I'm UPS? Am I licking my chops over this? Or am I saying, wait a minute, you're going to take over FedEx and give them a competitive advantage. What about me? Or how about Amazon or even the Postal Service? And this is one fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the economy that DSA has in their gun sights.
Right.
Practical things that apply to all of the companies if they take over. They want a 32-hour work week with no reduction in pay and benefits. How does that work, Gary?
No, I understand. And again...
And who's asking these questions? You and I are talking about it. When I hear people like Mr. El Sayed talk about the DSA platform, which he claims he now disavows some of it, there are no specifics. Yeah. Just a lot of emotional rhetoric.
Exactly. And
no
the key there that you're talking about is the emotional rhetoric that we get into. We need to have people who are going to break down and say, here's how the policy works. Here it is to the nth degree. What do you think of it? Yay or nay? And that to me is the mature way of going about doing this, that you have to explain for some of these, socialistic kind of things that you want to do. And again, we already have some socialism built into our whole system that people don't even think about. But if you're going to do that, then say, here's how my policy works. Heck, our own politicians right now, the regular people that we have don't even do that. So, we're asking these people to do something, and they're not being asked any more about it because that's what we're used to. We're saying, okay, yeah, give me the headlines, but you really don't have to explain out how it's going to work. President Trump does that all the time. He throws the headlines out, but he doesn't break down the policy for you and say, well, here's what's going to happen. A equals B, B equals C, C equals D, therefore A equals D. They don't do that. None of them do.
Well,
and it's really disgusting.
If there is any forward detailed policy, it's not clear to me.
And me neither.
That's just a little sidebar.
No, I agree.
In the past, we had the Fourth Estate to try to keep some of these politicians honest.
Right.
But that train left the station a long time ago.
Right.
And that's typically where you would get somebody who would grill a would-be politician, especially somebody who wants to rip up the Constitution.
Exactly.
To say, well, let's have a chat about how that works. And so things like, in the case of FedEx or any company that's in the public ownership of a company exists, who does own the company? None of this None of the detail is there. The management, don't know. Who makes the investment decisions? Well, gosh, we haven't thought about that. How do you price your product? You go on and on and on with this sort of thing.
Yep.
I think if I were, I don't know the names of these Sunday morning talk show hosts anymore because they seem to change every week. But, if I had some up-and-coming DSA candidate sitting across the table from me, I would ask the following. I'd say, if you want public ownership of the largest companies, let's talk about FedEx. And let's have some conversation about how you deal with this. They employ 375,000 people. They operate 700 aircraft. They have tens of thousands of vehicles scattered all around the world. They deliver 17 million packages a day. By the time you get to the 17 million, the DSA candidate's eyes are probably spinning. I didn't know that. Well, you better know that.
Right.
If the government owns these companies, Gary, what happens to the shareholders?
So summary,
it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, summary today for where we're at when you look at all this information, and put a little bow on it for us this morning.
Well, I think the bow is you better press for specifics and keep pressing. Don't let them dodge. And I would say that's on both sides of the political spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Enough of the generality.
I agree.
Enough of these big hand-waving promises. Give me the specifics. Tell me what it's going to cost. Tell me how it affects the average person. Tell me what happens to my kids. Tell me what kind of debt you're going to leave behind if you don't find a way to fund it. I mean, your interview with Chris this morning was frightening.
Yes, I know.
And we've been listening to this. You guys have had this conversation every time the national debt passed another $5 trillion threshold, all the way back to what, 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Right. Well, and that's...
And where we sit, 40 trillion?
But we've got... We have nobody that wants to get out of the moment, that wants to be forward-looking, who wants to say, okay, there's something down the line. We got to do better for our country. We're custodians of, where we're supposed to be. Let's start to get a handle on this. But everybody's got their side. Everybody's got their excuse. Everybody's got their carved out amounts. Everybody's got their things they're hanging on to. And what results is nobody is willing to be the first one to step off the merry-go-round and do anything about it. And so until that happens, we're not going to have any big changes on all this stuff. And that's the real problem in the whole thing. But to be continued, my friend. I appreciate you laying out some pretty good stuff there this morning. And it's not a real positive answer right now because no one's doing anything to change the script of music that's being played called debt, 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 debt. And that's until that happens, we're going to have a tough time. We're really going to have a tough time.
We certainly are, Gary. Yeah, we certainly are.
Joel, I appreciate you being with us this morning. Thanks so much. We'll look forward to next week at 7:05, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Joel. Joel Sears, our policy guy, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We got more straight ahead, including Fox Sports, right after this.
Fox Sports Update.
Controversy in Baltimore.
Driven deep to left field. Fair ball. It's gone. And it is foul. Will Little with the dramatic foul call.
Pete Alonso's high, deep fly ball to left field in the 7th inning on the Yes Network was ruled foul, and the call was upheld on a video review, though some camera angles appeared to show the ball looked to be fair. So the game remained tied, but the Yankees ended up beating the Orioles 5-3. After the game, several Baltimore players, including Alonso, calling for improved technology on these types of calls. Out west, the Dodgers sweep the Rockies in Denver 6-4 in 10 innings. Astros edge the Angels 3-2. Nationals shut out the Rangers 6-0. Mariners bouncing back after that embarrassing loss to the Brewers. They win this time 7-5. Royals over the Athletics 9-7. It was the Rays over the Jays 7-6. The Reds edge the Cards 5-4. Giants blank the Guardians 1-0. Quite a pitching duel there. Meanwhile, the Phillies, they've now won 6 in a row. They beat the Marlins 4-1. It was the Diamondbacks over the Red Sox 7-6. That game in 10 innings. The White Sox blanked the Cubs at Wrigley Field 3-0. The Southsiders winning for the first time at Wrigley in 3 years. Twins beat the Braves 6-4. Mets double up the Padres 4-2, and the Pirates with a walk-off win over the Tigers 4-3. From the National Football League, Tampa Bay Bucks defensive tackle Vita Vea and the team announcing they've agreed to terms on a contract extension. It could be worth as much as $48 million. And the Texans say that wide receiver Jayden Higgins will be out for the year. He suffered a torn ACL in a joint practice. You can listen and follow the Fox Sports Podcast. Head over to foxsports.com or go wherever you go to get your favorite podcast. I'm Frank Lanza.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Yeah, I was watching that game last night with the Orioles and the Yankees, and Alonso unloads this rocket shot, and it goes up over the foul pole. And it was hooking in fair territory in over the foul pole, and it looked like, and a couple of the angles of the replay looked like it was a fair ball for a home run. However, they showed another angle where it looked like, it could be questionable. And what they're saying, there ought to be some way of doing like a laser thing or something, because it really is an inexact. And for all the stuff they're doing now, for all these challenges and everything, it's really inexact on how to do that. And so, and by the way, I was amazed at the Orioles game how many Yankee fans are there. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's probably 50-50. I mean, the Yankees were getting hit. You'd hear the fans screaming. I think, oh, it's supposed to be a home game. But that seems to happen a lot in Baltimore. You get a lot of these stinking Yankee fans who get out there, and it's just it's rough. Well, but they invade. They should knock out the tickets. They should only allow like 10% of the Yankees. I think that's it.
The ownership
socialistic.
Like
I'm going right to that. But no, the Yankee fans are fine. Really, seriously. But it did look like a home run, especially if you are a subjective Oriole fan as I am. And I admit to that.
It's funny that you say that because I didn't see the replay, but as I listened to you talking and describing it, I feel that way sometimes with field goal kicking in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'll see it and I'm like, did that go over the top?
And that's what this did.
Yeah. Did it go to what's the angle? I mean, they're standing right underneath it. So I guess, who has a better shot at it than they do?
Right.
The umpires. But it's still, I always have those kind of questions too. So when you were describing it, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, it was like a moonshot.
Yeah.
I mean, and either make the pole higher, which I don't know how high you could make it. At some point in time, someone's not going to be able to knock it over. But
what
still,
about a laser?
If you have a laser, I mean, look, we've got the things that open doors automatically,
right,
don't we? We could do that. I mean, we put people on the moon. We can't put a laser up to tell what's foul and what's fair. Come on.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I want to take the Luddite version.
Yes.
I'm going to say the technology has worked. And it doesn't. Nothing is 100%. So
right,
if it's a little uncertain here, too bad. The refs were there. They got a chance to see it, and that's that.
And it gives us something else to talk about today that we wouldn't have otherwise.
But what about this? For technology, you're searching for an answer from technology. Well, one of the most frequently open jobs where they do a lot of replacing in hospitals is phlebotomy.
Right. Well,
So-
you hear Vance Miller talk about the phlebotomy
That's
program
right.
down there at York County School of Technology.
So, what if we had robots that did it?
The first robotic device of its kind, the Aletta, has been given authorization by the Food and Drug Administration. It's designed to draw blood from a patient's arm without human intervention. Aletta first guides the patient on how to position their arm. Once the patient or a supervisor presses a button to begin, Aletta uses near-infrared light and Doppler ultrasound to locate a vein. Then the system applies a tourniquet, inserts and disposes of the needle, changes collection tubes, and even applies a bandage. And if you happen to be a wiggler during the blood draw, the needle automatically detaches and the procedure stops. Jill Nato, Fox News.
I don't know. I can see all kinds of comedy there.
Yeah, I don't know if I,
Can you see the needle using it, and then all of a sudden, boom.
yeah. Sorry, didn't mean it.
Wrong spot.
AI, yeah.
Would you trust something like that?
No,
I'd
no,
have to see it.
I want a human being there. Even if you make a mistake, at least I can hear you say "oops" and it sounds human. But then I just anyway. One of the things you can be part of the family of is visit Barry Orchard today. Barry Orchard is located right here at the Central Market in York, 34 West Philadelphia Street. If you come in the Beaver Street side, look straight ahead on your left. They have a big counter riddle on the wall, but they also have another counter there with baked goods, oils and vinegars. They've got Italian specialties in their cases up there. They've got the great cheeses and meats you'd find at a New York City market. And they got Mike and Chris DiGirolamo, who are the best people you're going to find to show you what quality is all about. By the way, Chris can make you a charcuterie board and cater your next party, and you will have class, and more class. She does a fantastic job. Plus, they have oils and vinegars there. She's got a holy cannoli bar along with the baked goods. They'll make a cannoli right in front of you, Mark, including the chocolate shell cannoli. It's all right there for you. And Mike will have a great conversation while he's getting you some of those wonderful meats and cheeses that they have become known for. They have a Bel Paese cheese that I get from time to time, which is outstanding. But they've also got the wonderful meats that you've come to know and love, like speck and various things like that. Mortadella, which is one of my favorites. They have a great mortadella there. So why don't you stop by today and find out all about it? On any market day, they're open 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Barry Orchard, right there at 34 West Philadelphia Street. If you come in off the Philadelphia Street side, go in, walk it straight up, turn right, come right down the wall. You can't miss them. If you come in the Beaver Street side, just come in and keep going along the left-hand wall, and they're right there. Barry Orchard. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you today, and stop by and see all the great tastes they have for you. WOYK News Time is 7:30. When we come back, former mayor of York, Kim Bracey, is going to join us, and she's going to talk about something that we don't hear a lot about, but we probably should hear more about, which is about the YWCA's initiative for fighting sexual violence and a program called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Kim's going to tell us all about it next, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7:30. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK on a Thursday morning. And a lot being done in our community right now on a lot of different subjects. But this is one that we don't have come up as often as maybe we should in talking about it. And Kim Bracey with YWCA this morning joins us here on the Gary Sutton Show. She's the CEO over there, former mayor of York. And good morning, Kim. How are you?
I am wonderful, Gary. Thank you so very much for having me today.
Well, it's been a while since we last talked, but good talking with you this morning. But one of the things that you're doing right now, the YWCA is basically in your press release said you're sounding the alarm on sexual violence ahead of the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes initiative. Talk about what's going on here and what we really need to know about that maybe the community is not as aware of as they should be.
Yeah, we lead an annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event every year. And this year is on first Friday in September, September the 4th, in downtown York. Folks will be walking a mile downtown, milling around the restaurants and taverns, et cetera, and engaging with the people, really with a message, a strong message about ending sexualized violence against women. It's something you're right. We don't talk enough about. Sexual violence happens often and happens early as well, too. And a lot of it happens right here in York County. And YWCA York stands with our community in solidarity to end it, as well as providing services. Through our Victim Services Department, we provide emergency housing if needed, transitional housing, counseling. We have a relationship with forensic nurses at both of our major hospitals in York County. So we're there to stand with our community, and we're asking the community to join us as well.
And I understand participants will actually walk 1 mile through downtown York to raise awareness, challenge different stereotypes and expectations, and stand alongside survivors of sexualized and gender-based violence. Listen, any kind of violence against somebody because of their sexual or their gender preferences or anything like that, I am totally opposed to, and I think most people are. But, how big a deal is this in York County? Are there any stats or anything that you have anecdotally that kind of bring this out at all, Kim?
Yeah, definitely, because I knew you would be asking me, Gary, of course, and I appreciate your advocacy against this sort of crime as well, too, and all crime. You're a great spokesperson for York County. But in York County, we have reports of sex. We just talk about child abuse. 1,800 reports of suspected child abuse. Of that, 260 were substantiated that involved sexual abuse.
Wow.
So, yeah, exactly. And that's our children. That's our little people. We can get right there and talk about the number of women in Pennsylvania. About 25% of women have experienced completed or attempted rape during their lifetime, Gary.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's exactly. So this is not just something willy-nilly to have gentlemen downtown and hills. This is a true message and a true situation and crime that happens right in our community that we are trying our best to draw attention to and end. It is a fundraiser for YWCA York so that we can continue to provide these free and comprehensive services, but it is still a message to behold.
Kim, how are we doing in York County in terms of the services provided for people? You mentioned some of the things like safe houses and things like that, but is York County doing a good job? I hate to overuse the word, it's overused, partnering, but are we partnering up pretty well with various agencies to make sure that we do this, or is it one? I guess what I'm asking is, do you have good partnerships right now, or where are we lacking? Where are some of the areas you see we could be doing better than we're doing right now on this?
We have great partnerships and strong partnerships, Gary, but there's always opportunity for more, obviously. There are 2 YWCA organizations in York County, one in Hanover and ours in New York City, that provide services around this very issue to York Countyans. We partner with the DA's office. Every governmental entity you can think of, we partner with. But then those hospitals are so key. Those forensic nurses, those medical providers that see something and speak up and then call us to come in and be partners with that. And there's any number of other nonprofit organizations as well, too. And if I start rattling off names, I'll forget someone.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we do, everything from emergency housing, so those that provide housing, to those that do provide counseling and services.
No, that's good stuff. And but again, one of these incidences is one too many. And, a lot of us, are shielded away from this. We live in a world where we say, I can't imagine this happens. And yet there it is. You gave some of the numbers here a moment ago that really bear out that this is, something that's really bad that's happening around Pennsylvania. And again, you might say, well, it's not that many incidents. Any incident is bad. So how do we get out in front of this proactively and in a way where it's not going to happen all the time? Kind of getting the jump on it. Is there any way of doing that?
Wow. Gary. And it's rare that you leave me speechless. I joined this organization July 2022 and am reminded daily this work is endless. And
yes.
It's that. New stats, new victims, new cases in the legal system. But I think, again, strengthening partnerships and trying our best to work with every entity. We have a great relationship with York College even. They have some of their fraternity members coming to this next weekend's event. So, we're hitting it at all segments that folks learn early on. No means no. And that's trivial, but that's the basics. And what we have to get back to, I think, because it's unfortunately an endless cycle.
Yeah, it really, is something that we're concerned about. So the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is going to be a mile walk through York coming up September 4th, and we're looking forward to seeing all that. And what will happen after that? Do you have different conferences that day or different things like that? Talk about that a little bit, if you would, Kim.
Yeah, we will have individuals there on site before and after. We will be some of our partners will have tables and we'll be talking with the community. After the event, we will probably hold a decompression, de-escalation. It can be kind of triggering for survivors and so forth. So we'll be there to provide counseling services, talk through anything, and then thereafter, we hope to really engage new volunteers to come out and do this sort of work with us, become a trained advocate and or an escort or whatever that's needed for our victims to be survivors. So it's an ongoing situation, but this is the highlight of our fundraising efforts for it, and it will draw out people to really be, again, in solidarity for this cause.
Where would that walk be starting then on September 4th, Kim? Is that right at the YWCA?
No, sir. Further downtown than that. We will be at North Pershing Avenue and West Philadelphia Street. There's a city parking lot right there, Cadorus Creek, across from First Capital, who, by the way, is a partner.
Right.
And that will be where our assembly will be. You can't miss us. You'll see the big red shoes. You'll hear the music. You'll see people milling around. And we'll be there from 4 o'clock until about 8.
So you're there right there where the York History Center is and First Capital Dispensary and the parking lot's right there behind the old York County Courthouse.
That's it. Yes, sir.
See, how's that for a description, right? And, let me just for people who, aren't familiar with YWCA, the types of things that you do proactively to help people in the community. You talk about getting advocates out there and different people like that. What are some of the types of things that you do to kind of get out in front of this with some of the people that you have and some of the volunteers and workers that you have there?
Well, we also do a little bit of everything. The other side of our house, the major operation is childcare. So we start early with families, educating and talking with them, too. And we are throughout York County. We're not just in York City.
Right.
We have childcare facilities throughout York County and a couple different school districts even. So we work with our schools. We recently had a Red Sand event in downtown York, advocating against human trafficking, which is another big deal. And we do work in that space as well, too, at our shelters and in the Victim Services Department. And again, I spoke about the Victim Services Department. It is comprised of legal assistance, counseling assistance, and housing. And those are very big components of what's needed when a person is either seeking help from violence, sexualized violence. So it's a big deal, Gary, and it's a big
I'll tell you what.
operation. And our partnerships really help that, from our governing body to our outside volunteers with this event even. So I can't do it alone, and we are thankful again to you even wanting to talk to me about it today.
Oh, well, anything that's going on in New York, and trying to help the community at large is something we want to talk about. So the corner of North Pershing and Philadelphia Street, right there on September 4th, 4 o'clock. Be down there, walk a mile in her shoes, initiative by the YWCA, basically against sexual violence. And they're doing such good work. Please get on down there and support them. And where can they go in terms of a website if they want to support and that kind of thing, Kim?
It is right there, front and center on their website. You can register individually. You can register as a team. You can even register as a sponsor. www.ywcayork.org.
Former Mayor Kim Bracey, now the head of YWCA, the CEO there. Kim, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us this morning. Always a pleasure talking to you.
It is, Gary. Thank you. And
Thank
you
you,
have
Kim.
a great day.
You too. Take care now. Have a wonderful day. Kim Bracey here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, and the initiative they have going on to stop sexual violence. I just don't, I guess it's hard to understand that, and yet it's a reality. It's a reality, and I'm glad that Kim brought some of that out here this morning, and they're going to be walking again. Some of it's symbolic, but by the same time, when you see some of these symbolic things, it does bring your mind around and attention to some of the things that are happening in our community that sometimes happen in silence and should not. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more right after this. It's the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Little Hall & Oates coming back here.
Oh, here she comes.
Yeah, that wasn't Hall & Oates.
Well, it was Mackenzie.
Yes.
Daryl Hall & Oates and Mackenzie.
Yep. Welcome back to Gary Sutton Show here on a Thursday morning. If you didn't know, Meta is being sued for $1.4 trillion in 29 U.S. states. Now, you might not have been aware of that. The states are alleging that the way Facebook and Instagram are operated are hazardous to children's health. But this massive lawsuit isn't just about money. I mean, if Mark Zuckerberg and his company lose, things could look a lot different on social media. Here are some of the things that might change, for example. Number one, death of the infinite scroll and autoplay. These features are intended to take you down rabbit holes and maximize screen time. Yeah, where you ever see these things, they get you into the thing where, such and such had this, and you say, I'm going to go find that out, and then you have to go through 50 different things before you get to that, if you ever get to it. Here's another thing that could end up happening. The end of the like button. One of the main ways teens get hooked on social media is their addiction to the like count. This lawsuit wants to end social validation metrics. Yeah, so taking out the likes would be something they might do. Number three, no more algorithmic manipulation. This could mean a return to the old chronological way to view your feed. Number four, curbing frequent notifications. They'll seek to cut down on any excessive push notifications designed to get people hooked again. And finally, number five, and the death of the Finsta, which is essentially a burner account that's away from your parents' eyeballs. The states are pushing for stricter parental verification and limits on multiple account creation. We've talked a lot about that in a lot of the stories where parents are trying to get a handle on what their kids are actually doing on the internet. And so those are all things that may change. This is from Tom's Guide and Reuters this morning. Seems like people of all ages could benefit from all these changes, Mark, but there you go.
Here is something new you didn't know about Pennsylvania. It is the home of many companies, but one foreign company, its U.S. headquarters is coming to Pennsylvania.
The first part of this investment is reconfiguring this massive facility here in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, so that they can produce excavators and wheel loaders. And they're shifting production from South Korea and Sweden, assembling these products right here in Shippensburg. All told, Volvo Construction Equipment will produce 11 new models here. That's more than half of the company's North American supply. This investment isn't just about the facility. The second part of it is the people. They've sent employees to places like Sweden, South Korea, and Brazil for training at those factories so that they can take what they learned there and bring it here to the U.S.
Isn't that interesting? Yes, the new Volvo manufacturing facility is in Shippensburg.
And returning to a major story this morning, today is National Radio Day. And here are some of the results from a recent survey in honor of today being National Radio Day. 71% of people listen to the radio in their car. Now, as I talk to different people, they'll say, I listen to you, or I used to listen to you because I was driving to work. So a lot of people are driving to work and they hear us in the car. 67% of people say they listen to the radio every day at some point. 56% of women and 35% of men sing along to the radio. Okay,
it's the best part.
Yeah, I mean, just singing along. I do that sometimes.
Yes,
except when you pull up to a light, you're next to somebody.
That's right,
and you have to act cool,
quick.
Yeah,
don't move your lips.
Like you're going to see them again, and you somehow have to be accountable for them. Yeah,
as if you're a little off key.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you just turn toward them and just sing louder? I mean, I don't know. 59% of women and 76% of men are listening when we say, "Don't touch that dial." And they stay on a station during the commercials. Really? And finally, almost 9% of people, this doesn't say a lot, say radio stations don't play enough commercials and should have more. I've never heard anybody say that.
Me neither.
First of all, not sure how I should take that. And maybe it's a compliment. They keep us on the air. But a radio ad is good when you hear it so many times. You sing the phone number at your office desk like a Lady Gaga chorus. But yeah, interesting stuff. We've been in the radio business for a while now, and I still love it. Why do you love it so much, Mark? I never asked you that question.
It was a lark. I was in a college. It was college had a radio station.
Right.
I thought, well, that sounds like it'd be fun. So I went and did it and had some skill for it. And I applied to a actual real world radio station, and they hired me. And I'm like, wow, well, this is easier than I thought. But it has some downsides, moving around. But I moved around a lot as a kid, so it really didn't affect me.
You were used to that.
Yeah, and I think it is the especially places that give you the good resources, you're able to, make, I think, people's lives a little bit easier by getting the information in one spot. Now, when it's entertainment, trying to be funny,
we're still working on that.
Yeah, same here. And, but with the news and stuff, we had lots of resources that we could pull from, talk to the newsmakers. I was just talking to Mayor Bracey. I still call her Mayor Bracey.
Right.
But it's, and you're doing a service,
Right.
And it's all about the public good. I was telling a neighbor yesterday about, he asked me about radio, and I said, well, back in the day, that's what it was about. You got the license
right
in return for servicing the public good for that community. And most of the stations that I worked for, that was the key. And I felt a part of that, helping the community that I live in.
Right.
And every once in a while, you get one that's not quite that way.
Yeah. I get into it by accident and totally just was asked to come do an interview at a halftime of a basketball game up in Millersville. And it just kind of clicked. And I thought, this is really,
it's fun.
Interesting to me. But one of the things that kept me involved in it was the idea of you get to use your imagination. Everything in a world pretty much today is visual. And all of a sudden in a visual world, here you are with radio, where you get to use your imagination a little bit, and you get to exercise your mind and your auditory skills and listening. And I really enjoy that. I think it's good. I listen to radio myself. I like to do it. I was always amazed when I came to work at. I worked for 3 different stations part time at a time, and I come in like for WSBA, and I'd heard these voices over the years and always imagined who they were. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you say, now you're putting a face to a voice. You say, oh, my goodness, I would have never thought that. Or that's exactly what I thought it was. And it's still amazing to me when people come over and they'll say, is that your radio voice? I say, well, I just use the same voice pretty much all the time. But
it was easier for you because you were doing, you were there because of your expertise for the most part in the beginning. So a lot of us, I know I had to, almost like developing a persona, so when you're on the air, you're Radio Mark, but off the air, I'm not Radio Mark. It's a different thing. So I often, this is bad, but it sounds bad. It's almost like acting. You're projecting and your inflection, all things that maybe, in the real world, you don't use a super lot of, but on the air, it helps illustrate a point.
And how many times do people say, you sound exactly like you do on the air, or you don't sound exactly like you do on the air?
I've gotten both. Yes.
Yeah, I've gotten both too. And so, it's interesting. It's one of those things that we come in every day. We're so used to it now. We're moving on 7,000 shows over the years. But, the bottom line is that it's intriguing every day because you get to talk about, in the way we do it, a morning magazine here, fun stuff, but news, things you've never heard of. Whose birthday, what happened on this date, all kinds of things that people like to talk about, the weather, sports. And so we have this wonderful chance to present what we think you're talking about every single day right here in the air. So we're having fun celebrating National Radio Day today. And so glad that you decided to join us. This hour being brought to you by Barry Orchard. Mike and Chris DiGirolamo are really putting out some great tastes over there right now at Barry Orchard. You need to stop on by today, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on market days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for the best in catering. They've got great charcuterie boards, oils and vinegars, holy cannolis, meats and cheeses, all kinds of Italian delicacies. I'll spit that out, and they're all right there at Barry Orchard. Corey Thurman up next here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK as we talk about culture and sports all colliding together. It's 8 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to the final hour on a Thursday morning of the Gary Sutton Show. It is Pack the Park Day here at the Wellspan Park, and tonight we're going to try to pack the park for kindness. Yeah, I know what the forecast says, but I think by then I'm hoping the showers will cooperate. And it all starts 6 o'clock tonight. I'm excited about throwing out the first pitch. My arm's not as excited as I am. But
what about a slingshot?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got to think about something, maybe to. But I do want to throw it from the main mound. I mean, I want to do that and make sure I do it right.
Makes sense.
And it's Chris Markowski. I can't throw it under him because you'd have to give up your man card. I mean, that's that. I mean, I'd throw it in the dirt first.
Wait a second, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Where you could do it underhand, you wouldn't lose. No, and you wouldn't lose your man card because you were a basketball coach.
Yeah.
Do it like this.
No, that's real. No. They not only would they take my man card, they put me in jail.
Oh,
I'd be in man jail. Yeah, it'd be bad.
Like they do the underhand
Wilt Chamberlain thing.
Yeah.
Wilt could get away with it because he could beat everybody up. He was 7'2", but I couldn't do it.
Okay.
So anyway, this hour, by the way, be brought to you by Augie's Joint. Augie's Joint's located right up here in Central Market. But in fact, just cat-a-quarter from Barry Orchard, who sponsored last hour. Augie's Joint, Brett Fleming, Jewel, Elijah, the whole crowd up there are just cooking up the best delicacies at lunchtime, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. And Augie is going to be here tonight, by the way. He's going to come up to the box tonight and hang out with us. But today, between 10 and 2, check this out. The Georgia Peach Hot Dog. Chipotle cream cheese, bacon, diced red onion, peach, and peach hot sauce. This dog is worth the trip. The burger special today, burger flights, 3 sliders, and you choose the Augie Burger, the Cowboy Burger, the Classic, or the Gary Sutton Show Burger. Yeah. Try any combo this week where you add tater tots, a cookie, and a drink. It's going to be right there today at Augie's Joint, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And by the way, I do want to let you know the 25th, they're going to be closed for the last time this summer. He has to visit Mom. Augie has to visit Augie's mom. And you got to do that every now and then. Even Augie has to do that. But Augie has got some of the great burgers and hot dogs down there, the Angry Cheesesteak, all of that for you right there at Augie's Joint. And I know Corey Thurman knows something about that. Former Major League pitcher, former pitcher for the York Revolution here. He's in the Hall of Fame. He now has taken up residence here in the area. He was a former Texas guy, and then he learned better that Pennsylvania is the place to be. And he's here with us this morning. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, sir? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I just saw you on Monday, and I've got some kind of feedback here in my ear. I don't know why we have that, but yeah, there we go. Now it's better. Are you there, Corey?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Now we're all set to go. Anyway, I saw you Monday. Corey was the Beat the Pro out at the For Love of a Vet tournament at Heritage Hills. And, of course, always for a good cause, For Love of a Vet, just a great organization that's helping veterans out and so forth. But, yeah, I saw you out there in the 15. We had a nice little discussion on Monday, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was all quality, man. It's always good when you get on the golf course and just have some fun. And like I always say, it's easy for me. You guys have to actually play real golf. I get to hit the same shots 36 times. And it's all good. And I still haven't had a hole-in-one in the last 6 years.
But the gift of gab, the gift of conversation, you are blessed. I mean, you are always having a conversation with people, getting them fired up and having a good time. You found out what Mark's last name is on Monday. I told you that, Mackenzie, right? Yeah, so that was your first question?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know that, Mark. So now I learned some new stuff. We're good.
There you go. So you got all that down. And also we were talking about, Mark Hendrickson is on Mondays. He's a left-hander. And I said, you're on Thursday. You're the right-hander. You said, I don't mind coming out of the bullpen. But you're not a bullpen guy. You are you're a starter, so you're a right-handed starter on Thursday. So that's the way we kind of look at it. I want to make sure you do that.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I don't mind. Either way, the way I look at it is that as long as I'm pitching, I'm having a good time.
All right. Now, Tommy John died this past week, 83 years old. And, you think about the guy. He was a pretty good pitcher when he pitched for the White Sox and the Yankees and a few other teams. But, I mean, this guy is forever going to be known as the guy that changed the whole way pitchers can go out and pitch. I think I asked you, I said, did you ever have Tommy John surgery? You said you never did. But you did. Why are so many guys having to get that surgery now? And they're getting, not just one, they're getting 2 or 3 sometimes, and they're still prolonging their career. What's going on here?
It's like I'm likening it to like a lot of football players having ACLs and basketball players having Achilles.
Okay.
Tommy John is just part of what you're doing with the body. And as people continue to throw harder and they continue to get that velocity, and we've talked about that already, how velocity has gone up. Everything just keeps going up. At some point, some part of one joint's going to go out, either the shoulder or the elbow. It's going to go out. You know what I mean? And nowadays, it's better for you to have Tommy John than for you to have shoulder surgery, because Tommy John has taken such a leap in technology. They haven't figured out how to make the shoulder better. Like the shoulder's hit or miss, because that's what Dr. Andrews said when he did my shoulder. It's almost like I wish I would have had Tommy John, because they know exactly what to do. You take a ligament from your hamstring, boom, boom, boom. They put it in, sew it in, everything. Then all you got to do is just build it back up, and it becomes even stronger.
Right.
You can't do that with your rotator cuff. All I have is 70% of my rotator cuff and 10% of my labrum still left. You can't. That don't grow back. You can't just put another piece of the body into that spot.
Yeah, I'd never heard it explained that way, but that makes perfect sense to me, and that you can build that up when you put a ligament back in there on the Tommy John surgery. Let me ask you this question. You're obviously, you've loved baseball your whole life. You're a sports guy overall. What do you like? What do you like about the game right now, and what do you not like about the game right now, Corey?
All right. You know what? What I like about the game that, I played it in Venezuela and Dominican and Mexico, places like that. And when you play in other places, the energy, I love the energy, how the World Baseball Classic was. You know what I mean? Everyone. And people back in the day, there was no bat flipping or you'd get hit. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And people hitting home runs and the people getting hit nowadays, they're not going for that, because guys don't know how to play that game anymore. Now, that's the thing that I really like about it, is that it's more entertaining for the casual fan. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
The hardcore baseball fans are like, well, they're doing too much and this isn't that. Well, you know what? We're trying to attract more people. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like I like to call it the Savannah Bananas thing. They're packing in stadiums just with entertainment. They're playing baseball, but they're not playing baseball. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're entertaining. I think the game's more entertaining now.
I'm reminded of that movie, A League of Their Own, with Tom Hanks and Rosie O'Donnell and Madonna. And I remember one of the things, and that really did happen, by the way, that the women played while the guys were off at World War II.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened was, though, they said they came up before and said, hey, you can't just play baseball. You got to entertain more. You got to get the entertainment aspect in there as women when you play this game. And they try to do some of that. We're getting some of that with like the Bananas and some of those outfits. And, of course, like minor league baseball has amusement parks to entertain kids. We've got all the special little things between innings. So the entertainment aspect has become a real big part of it, as it's a family-focused kind of thing. Talk about that a little bit from your vantage point.
I love that entertainment aspect, and that's what's cool. And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to piggyback on that, where now the players, they're wearing the fancier shoes and elbow guards and stuff like that, and they're doing ginormous bat flips and everything. It's just they're having fun, and that's what people want to see, because this whole generation is about swag. Look at me. You got to feed that generation what they want. You know what I'm saying? This is what they want to see. You know what I mean? Like in our generation, I wanted to see Jordan going up high-flying and dunk on the dunk contest. I don't need to see that anymore. You know what I mean? I'd rather see somebody shoot a basketball and shoot three-point contest. Even though I like Larry Bird and all them doing the three-point, because Bird made it famous. But then after that, it was just like, oh, it's a three-point contest. We want to see the dunk contest. Now people want to see the three-point contest more than they want to see the dunk contest. And just how stuff changes with generations, because the Steph Curry and Caitlin Clark effect. They look like normal people just like us walking around every day that can shoot. From anywhere when they step in the gym, that's their range. And so it's about how the entertainment factor. Now, the thing that I don't like about the game is that we're getting ready to go into a work stoppage. Gentlemen, figure it out.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about a cap and a floor and everything else. Figure it out. Because the game is at a good height right now. If you go into a strike right now, it's not like going to be like 94. Think about it, from the 94 strike, it took at least 4 or 5 years to get it back until the home run chase. What was that, 98, 99 with Sosa and McGuire? When they had the home run chase, then everything was like, okay, it's more entertaining now because people were hitting home runs. That's where Greg Maddux and, Tom Glavine on them had the commercial about chicks dig the long ball. They had all that stuff going on at that time. And then so when you look on it, the one thing I hate is the labor negotiations. Get it figured out before the end of the season, because once you go lockout and you start saying negative terms like that, which December 1st they can lock the players out. But what's the point, man? Let's just figure it out. All over some millionaires and billionaires arguing about money.
Yeah.
Really? You know what I'm saying? Like, really, real talk. Like, I would get in that room and say, hey, sit down. We're not leaving this room until we figure it out.
Well, it goes back to what you just said a moment ago. People identify with people that could do stuff that maybe they could do, like the Caitlin Clarks or the Steph Currys, knocking down threes. Well, the same holds true here. So a lot of people are saying, well, I'm out of a job right now. I can't find a decent job, or I'm making X amount of dollars and I'm expected to show up every day and I don't have like collective bargaining or whatever it might be. And you're saying, and these people are making this amount of million a year and they're complaining right now. And that's where the disconnect comes about now, maybe more than ever before, where there is this huge gap between what you're making as a regular person who goes out and maybe pays for a ticket to go see these players play and those players who are now making in the millions. Yeah, I think you're exactly right on that, Corey.
Now, this is the thing, and like to say that, people do not get on the players about this. Oh, the billionaires are the ones trying to hold on to their dollars too. So it's kind of like, both parties are at fault here. You know what I'm saying? Because the billionaires got to pay the millionaires. That's how it works.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like, hey, they're all arguing over dollars, like minimum amounts, percentages. But for that millionaire, that 5% or that cap that he wants saves him $1 billion. And then the millionaires, the baseball players, we're sitting up here.
Gotcha.
We're like, hold on, we don't want a cap. We want to maximize our millions of dollars. We want to be able to get 20 or 30 million.
Final question this morning for you. A lot of people buzzing about the Yankees-Orioles game last night. The Orioles have a guy hits the polar bear hits what looks like a home run last night over the top of the foul pole. Now this is where it gets tricky.
My goodness.
Hits it over the foul pole in Camden Yards last night, and it gets called a foul ball by the umpire. So then it goes to the review. Now again, you got to have overwhelming evidence to switch the call, right? So if the guy calls a home run, you'd had to have overwhelming evidence. Why wouldn't you err on the side of calling it a home run instead of a foul ball? And they show a couple different angles, and it looks like, man, it hooked in over the top, and it should have been. And again, I'm an Orioles fan, so I'm a little subjective on this. But then they show one other angle where it looks like, you might have yourself an argument if you're the umpire. What can we do on this? Have you ever had a thought on that at all?
You know what? It's one of those things. The only thing that they're going to be able to do is they're going to have to put like a hologram on top.
Yeah.
And then you have to extend it to where you can see it through the sky. I know this is getting way technology, but we do have AI. So if y'all can figure that out, you can figure out a foul pole and put in a straight line above it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Where the foul line is. And then, like anything else, if the ball disappears behind it, you know what I mean? If it disappears behind it, then it's a home run. If it disappears in front, if it doesn't disappear at all and goes in front, it's foul. You see what I'm saying? But you got to have some kind of hologram or something that can extend, because that was a
laser or something, yeah.
A laser or something that goes up that's the same as the foul pole, and then once you see it, because that's what my wife and I were talking about. She's like, "How'd you know stuff was a home run?" I was like, "Well, you got to watch the ball disappear. If it disappears, it went behind the foul pole. That's fair.
Wow.
But if you saw it go in front of the foul pole and it didn't disappear, then it's foul ball. You see what I mean?
Great
and that's
point.
How we do it. But now above, you just got to extend it more.
You know what? We got to get you as an ambassador. You just solve world peace. I mean, you could take care of all that stuff for us here in a moment. Always good to have you on, my friend. You straighten out a lot of the questions that the world's asking. I love it.
You got it.
All right, buddy.
Man.
Good seeing you this week, and we'll catch up with you next week, okay? Take care.
Yes, sir. You got it, man. We got to hit the link sometime. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm ready. Corey Thurman here on the Gary Sutton Show. He does. He has the answers. I mean, he's like going to the Oracle, the Delphi Oracle. What is the answer? Tell me. Wise one. There it is. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more straight ahead here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 8:19.
It's the 0-2. And a swing and a high drive to deep left center. This one's got a chance. It is gone! Jackson Ross, a home run to left center. Number 16 of the year for him. And we are tied 1-1 here in the second inning. Revs lead at 8-6 here in the seventh. Pitch, he swings and drives it to deep left center. This one is gone! Mike Rosario leaves the yard. Opposite field home run. It is his 14th of the year. And on his third hit of the night, the Revs add a run to the lead. It's 9-6 here in the seventh. Swinging a ground ball, rolled softly to short. Ramirez up the middle. He gloves, sets, sidearms, got him. That's it. Revs win back-to-back games, a 10-6 final tonight. And on this night, they matched their biggest comeback win of the year. From down 4, they score the final 8 in this game. And they will keep the lead in the North right where it is. 3 games up in first place with 22 to go.
The Revs winning last night 10-6 to keep their 3-game lead in the North Division. Their 1-game lead overall for the best record of the Atlantic League over Long Island, who got a little retribution on Lancaster last night, winning 9-1. But you look at the Revs right now in the league. Brian Ray is the guy who was leading the league in hitting and all kinds of stuff. Got called up earlier. He was from the Revs. Brandon Lewis, remember him? He had 19 homers and 59 RBIs when he got called up earlier in the year. Now Brian Ray, with 18 homers and 101 RBIs, is leading the league in hitting at 346. Then you get one guy in from High Point. He's in town this week playing, Ivan Melendez. He is batting 339. And then it's all Revs. Nick Dunn, 21 homers, 92 RBIs, batting 334. You got Nick Lucky from Lancaster slipping in there. I think Melendez, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, got called up earlier. Tomo Otasaka is batting at 330 with just 10 home runs and 62 RBIs. 9 home runs, 49 RBIs. Jacob Teeter having a banner year for the Revs. He's at 330. He's got 21 homers, 97 RBIs for the year, having a great year. And then you don't have to go very far down there. Jackson Ross is batting 323. He's got 16 homers, 81 RBIs. I mean, the Revs hitting, you talk about murderer's row. I mean, they are really getting it done there up and down the lineup. So the Revs having a great season so far. They're at it again tonight after the 10-6 win last night. And looking forward to it tonight as Pack the Park Night for Kindness.
It's finally here.
It is finally here. And, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Looking forward to it out here. By the way, I did mention Brandon Cialucci, who was a standout reliever on the York Revolution 2025 Atlantic League Championship Club. He had his contract selected by the Toronto Blue Jays. It was announced on Wednesday, and he is going to be going up to play for Toronto. So his first appearance with Toronto will mark his major league debut. He becomes the 15th Revs player to go from York to the majors and the 7th to make his MLB debut.
So that was one of the questions I was going to ask you as you were running through all that stuff. That, is it age? How does age play into some of this?
I think it's more results.
Okay.
What they do with results, and the age is certainly a factor. I mean, obviously, if you're older, the chance of you getting
called
put up there is not real good. But so anyway, but Cialucci's still a relatively young man,
right?
And a really good pitcher. I mean, that guy came in last year. He was tough, and so I'm not surprised that he's getting a major league chance right here. Now tonight at 6:30, and again, all of our festivities start at 6 o'clock. I'll be emceeing some of that. I'll be throwing out a first pitch tonight as a World Kindness Ambassador. Yeah, allegedly. Hopefully, I'll be throwing out the first pitch, but along with some other people. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it's Pack the Park for Kindness Night. Get your tickets and get out here tonight and enjoy us. It looks like showers, but it's not. There's no thunderstorms. There's nothing like that on the docket, and the showers might be brief, and we might be able to play in and around them. So don't let that push you away tonight.
So do you know who's catching?
I
pitch?
I don't know who's catching that tonight. But I'll tell you what, they better have their hands padded because my fastball is going to be a shocker for
I
you.
don't know if you saw the mitt that's in the office. It was across from, I think it was the business manager's office.
Yeah.
And it was the biggest mitt I've ever seen.
Well, it's probably the special one they have for tonight when I throw my fastball. It's probably padded.
Okay.
I'm looking for my my 18-mile-an-hour fastball. Zach Mort, by the way, is pitching his first game tonight. Speaking of debuts, home debut, Zach Mort, M-O-R-T, is pitching for the Rebs tonight against High Point righty Matt Colucci, who's pretty good, by the way, but despite his 4-5 record. But it is a huge night tonight. Pack the Park, presented by Kindness Worldwide tonight. And they're going to have a T-shirt giveaway, by the way, presented by Kindness Worldwide to the first 1,000 fans. And I've seen the T-shirts. They're really cool. And they've got Rock on the back, which is the random opportunities for kindness, where they actually you can actually put in what you're doing for kindness and see it generate other acts of kindness. So that's going to be out there tonight. Tickets are on sale right now at YorkRevolution.com. Go to 717-801-HITS if you want to get them that way. And it's all right there. Tonight, Pack the Park for Kindness. And
do they have a ABS system? So, like, if you throw the pitch and it's a ball, could you, like, tap your helmet? And
No, they don't have that. They were, that's not as funny as it sounds, because they actually were going to do that in the second half of the season, but it got so complicated, and they felt like they were really maybe overcomplicating the game that that's it.
Okay.
By the way, today's National Radio Day. We'll talk more about that when we come back. But coming up at 8:35 this morning, we've got Aaron Anderson. You can find him at aaronjanderson.com. He is. You got his book out there as well, and he's always got things to talk about during this week. I'll also talk about the top 5 reasons radio will be around forever. Yeah, we'll do that here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Don't forget this hour being brought to you by Augie's Joint. I mean, Augie's Joint is the place to go for lunchtime right here in York. And Brent Fleming, who is Augie, and his wife Jewel and Elijah, they are cooking up a storm. And this week, they've got the Georgia Peach hot dog. That's their special. If you go in there today, ask about the Georgia Peach hot dog. Now, what's on there? Chipotle cream cheese, bacon, diced red onion, peach, and peach hot sauce. Now, this dog is worth the trip. I like to try out these new peach dogs like the Georgia dog. The burger special, they have burger flights. 3 sliders of your choosing. The Augie burger, the Cowboy burger, the classic, and you know what else? The Gary Sutton Show burger. That is there right now. And the Gary Sutton Show burger, ask about it. You got a burger or 2. I only ever use 1, which is a smash burger. It has on onion chutney, the Augie sauce, cheese, onions, and brown mustard. I'm telling you what, it is a burger to die for. I might have to get out and get one myself again this morning. I bought one last week. But open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, Augie's Joint, where you can get the best lunchtime specials. And don't forget right now, talk about the combos. You get tater tots, which are outstanding, a cookie, and a drink, all just for a short upcharge right there. And don't forget the 25th, right, they're going to be off. Why? Because Augie's got to go see his mom. Yeah, the 25th, they'll be off. That's the last day off this summer, and then Augie is going to be at you Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Augie's Joint, right there at the Beaver Street side of the Central Market, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. Aaron Anderson right around the corner right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
Annie Lennox.
I travel the world.
Eurythmics.
And Eurythmics. Yeah.
Yep.
Classic. Very, very unique voice. And,
Yes.
and the song is kind of a strange song. Used by you, and some of them want to abuse you. Yeah, it's not a real happy song.
It's ironic, perhaps.
Could be. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary. Annie Lennox had the most entrancing eyes. I remember that. Her eyes were her. You look at her, and you had these big, beautiful eyes. So that's one of the things I remember about her, and a very unusual voice. Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK on a Thursday morning as we head into our final hour on Pack the Park Thursday. We're going to pack the park for kindness tonight. If you're not there, you're not doing your part. Come on out there and help us. Or go to kindnessworldwide.org and check that out. But we're going to be out there tonight. Mark will be there tonight, so you can get a chance to see him and talk to him. We're going to have people all over the place. Kevin Smith will be out there. We'll be doing pregame festivities at 6 o'clock. I'll be emceeing a lot of that. Get a chance to throw out a first pitch tonight. Very humble about that. That's something that I've never done. And so, fairly decent chance I'll also throw out my arm. But that'll be, you could come down and see me make a fool out of myself by throwing that first pitch out. I used to be a pitcher in 8 to 12 baseball. So my career got put on hold for quite some time since then.
When was the last time you threw a baseball?
Threw a baseball?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, probably with my daughter.
So
that was back
decades.
in the 30s, and I was 30 years old. So it's probably been
40 years?
40 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say at least 40 years since I last threw a pitch. I might need Tommy John surgery after this pitch tonight. I don't know. We'll see. There goes my pitching career out the door. But yeah. Anyway,
and wouldn't it be ironic that you get it the week after he died?
After he died, yeah. And I'll say, what?
At least you waited.
Yeah, maybe it'll affect my golf game. Maybe it'll help my golf game. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, with that, we bring in Aaron Anderson this morning, CEO of Logos Academy and lead pastor down at Living Word Church. Have you ever thrown out a first pitch, Aaron?
I have not, but I was going to offer Gary to bring a couple of baseball gloves and we could get out, outside the radio station and throw some balls around if you want.
Yeah, Aaron and his wife Gail are coming out tonight. They're part of our guest list here, and we have everybody. Mark's going to be here tonight, so I mean, it's going to be luminaries that we have out here tonight are incredible. As you and a whole lot of people who are friends of ours, and Tim Barker and the mayor Sandy Walker is going to be out here tonight. Paul Minnick, Common Pleas Court judge, is going to be out here with his wife Donna. So we got a plethora. But you know what? Maybe you and I could go down and throw a couple pitches. That would be good. I mean, the fact that you're offering yourself up here again to help me, and I know you'll be looking to the side laughing as you'll go not that you would do that, but
I would never do that.
No,
my friend.
I can't imagine.
We just want to see a solid, with no bounces,
Yes.
Overthrows. Just hit the catcher's glove.
Right. Well, I used to be pretty good at that. When I was in 8 to 12, I had a natural curveball that mesmerized people. I was 4-1. I made the All-Star team that year with my 4-1 record. Now the one I got shelled. I mean, and I can still remember it. It's over at Weigelstown, which is about a mile behind my house. And every time I go by that field, I still have bad memories. Serving up watermelons for guys to hit over the fence. I mean, it was not a good night.
Well, maybe lay off the curveball tonight. Just simple, four-seam, fastball.
I'm going to go with my four-seamer tonight, which I think the last time it clocked the radar machine didn't even register it. I mean, that's how bad it would be. I don't know if they count like 18-mile-an-hour fastballs, but there you go. So, my fastball to the plate gets clocked in seconds, actually in minutes. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so were you thinking about me this week when you wrote this piece on AaronJAnderson.com? Don't let the Valley of Despair kill your dream. My dream is to throw a strike tonight, but the Valley of Despair, I don't think you were necessarily thinking about my pitch tonight, were you?
No, but I will tell you, that chart, there's a chart that I showed in that article and in the book. It talks about the emotional cycle of change. And so, you always start out when you're entering into a new
venture of some kind, whether it's a diet
You're
or
excited.
whether it's you're excited. But I love how they call it uninformed optimism because you don't know, right? You haven't thrown a baseball in, what do you say, 30 years?
40 years. Yeah.
Yeah. You might be visualizing a perfect, strike, but you just haven't thrown a ball in a while. And so you're kind of uninformed. Your optimism a little bit.
Well, I was looking at your article through my golf game, and I told my wife the other day, I'm a pretty competitive person as a coach and as a golfer over my life. And I said, I wish my sense of expectation competitively would degrade with my skills as I get older. It doesn't happen like that for some reason. And so that is uninformed optimism, where my optimism is still there, but my body says, we're a little older now. We don't do the things we used to do. So talk a little bit about that piece that you did this week, because I think there's some truth in that. We have to have a sense of informed optimism. Uninformed optimism sometimes gets in our way when we let the valley of despair kill our dream. Talk about that a little bit this morning, Aaron.
Yeah, I would say we need to have a real vision of what success looks like, whether you're in golf, whether you're running a nonprofit, a church, a business. We have to have some realistic vision of success. Now, I would say don't tamper your vision of success too much, right? Because with practice and time, you actually do improve on your golf game. Right. You might not be, Tiger Woods in his heyday, but I know the Gary Sutton I know is a really good golfer. There are a lot of people who would love to be at your level of golfing. But we got to have a realistic vision. But, when you start off, you start off with uninformed optimism.
Right.
It doesn't take long. When you get out there, you get to a range and you start hitting balls, they call the next stage you move into is called informed pessimism. Now you know something, but you're a little more pessimistic. It's like, this game, golf, is actually really hard to hit a ball straight and to control the direction of it. And you know that, Gary, because you've golfed with me. I usually can hit on the fairway, but I'm on the wrong fairway often, hitting to the left or the right?
Yeah.
But the valley of despair is where you hit next. Like, once you're in informed pessimism, there's a point at which you start thinking, I will never get better at this thing. I'll never run this organization the way I want. My business won't perform. My nonprofit is really struggling. My church is not growing. The valley of despair is where most people quit. And the point of my piece this week was to say, man, the valley of despair, we all hit it. Don't quit. It's at that point that you've got to keep practicing, keep going, keep pushing, because you can get the success, but you're going to have to fight through the valley.
And we've all had those moments, where we go through those, and you talk about that in the article, and you said the thing that kept you going was your faith in Christ and the same faith that inspired your team to reach new people with good news. So you kind of went to that, but I think one point you made in there, and a great line after that, it is vital that you are able to recognize when you find yourself in the valley of despair before you get there, and then figure out the reality and what you need to do to get out of the valley of despair, right?
Absolutely. Years ago, I was in the restaurant business early in my career as a general manager at a restaurant. And, who isn't excited when you open a restaurant and think, this is going to be great?
Right.
And then you actually get in the business and you're like, this is hard. And it's hard to get customers to come back, hard to keep good employees and to find them. It's hard when you're Saturday night and you're 2 a.m. and you're doing inventory in the restaurant. Like this, there's a lot of energy to make this happen. That's the point. The valley of despair is when people quit. And it's a deep temptation for all of us.
Yeah, and that's a great point. But then you go to step 4, which is informed optimism. And now we go from uninformed optimism to informed optimism. So now we're in reality. Now we get into, within that reality, what are the optimistic things? What are the positive things I can do, right?
Yeah, you start on your golf game, right? You land a couple of good shots in your round of 18.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm not a Tiger Woods, but I'm getting better. Your little church starts to see a handful of people come. Your nonprofit, you land a couple of good donors, and you're like, okay, now I'm starting to see what I would call small wins, little wins, and you got to stack those up.
Well, you talk in there about something called the flywheel effect, which I thought was kind of fascinating. Tell people about what the flywheel effect is.
Well, Jim Collins, right, wrote the book Good to Great. Totally worth reading. I mean, you'll realize I'm just regurgitating a lot of Jim Collins here. The flywheel effect is when you start stacking those little wins, those early wins.
Right.
And you, little by little, they start adding up. And before long, you're building something of like a culture of success. And that flywheel gets spinning, and it starts producing more and more wins.
And then stage 5, success and fulfillment. Maybe it's not the same success and fulfillment you envision, but it's success and fulfillment that is real, that it fits the moment. Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, there might be adjustment. There might be recalibration of what you thought. You thought your little church you were going to launch is going to reach, thousands of people, and maybe you end up reaching hundreds of people. It's still success. You might have to adjust, your golf game. You may have set out to say, like,
right,
I'm going to hit the tour. Well, maybe that's not in the cards.
Right.
But you can still have fun, enjoy it, and find satisfaction in being good at it, right? Your business, you may not have hit the sales target you thought, you set out to build $1 billion business. Well,
right.
Maybe that's not realistic, but you got a lot of employees and you're profitable.
Well,
you're
and
successful.
What's interesting to me is like even this job, the market I have now, is not the vision that I had when I started out 2 years ago. It was not what I looked at. It is entirely different, but I'm enjoying it immensely. I hope Mark is too. But if Mark enjoys it half as much as I do, I enjoy it twice as much as him. But the bottom line is that it is fun doing it the way we're doing it. We're really focusing far more on the local, and we found a vision that is different than what we thought it might be or what it was before. And so that's kind of part of it. You attack and you adjust. I think it goes back to be patient with the process, right?
You adjust and you recalibrate. What does success look like? Maybe your early vision of success wasn't realistic, or maybe it was built on. I'm not saying your vision, but maybe it was built on. For some of us, we go out with a huge dream, and maybe it was built on a little ego that was a little
right.
And you begin to realize, hey, there are lots of good things. I can think about school, starting a school. You may have thought your school is going to have thousands of 1,000 kids in it, and you got 300 kids, but you're changing lives, and 300 kids is a good number, and you're making a difference. And so I do think you recalibrate, but you measure success, and you stand back and you celebrate it when you see it.
You got me thinking about my philosophy in life, and it's been that as a coach, it's been that as a person, which is attack and adjust. You attack with what you know, and then you adjust to what you don't, and you adjust to what the changes are along the way that kind of help to maybe modify your dream. And so you don't let that get in the way, the valley of despair. But some of this is unlikely good, keys to tackling big city problems plaguing your small community. You've got that book out there. People can go to AaronJAnderson.com and order the book right there. But it's a good book to read about the kinds of problems we have here in York that, big cities like New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles might be encountering. We have the same kind of problems right here. And these are some of the ideas in attacking those. Right, Aaron?
Exactly. And, right here, Gary, it'd be easy to give up in the valley of despair in York when you're trying to solve some of our local problems. And, that'd be my message to our community, to leaders, and man, is just keep pressing on, because, we can get those early wins, and over time we can see success and change.
And part of that is packing the par for kindness tonight, too. Keep in mind that we can be kind to people along the way, and we want to do that in order to be able to work together to solve some of those problems that you talk about. Aaron, looking forward to seeing you tonight. Bring that glove. Maybe you can warm me up a little bit. And
that sounds good.
We're looking forward to seeing you and Gail here tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for all you do for the community, and thanks so much for the book. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Gary.
Take care, my friend. Aaron Anderson here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We're talking about summer storms and rain. 1 minute it's sunny, the next is a downpour. I mean, if your wipers smear or skip, replace them before the trip. and make sure you have plenty of washer fluid. Clear vision matters, especially on the highway. And if you want help, Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships has all of that for you right now, and they are ready to get those new wipers on there for you today at Jack Giambalvo. You know, Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships has some great pre-owned vehicles for you right now, and they have 276 used and certified used for sale on the lots at 6 Giambalvo locations in Hanover and York right now for you. Why don't you find out all about them by going to GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com, and you can see every item and every vehicle that's up there for you. But while you're there, find out about the pre-owned vehicle. Free lifetime PA state inspections if you buy with them for you and everyone in your family. 3-month or 3,000-mile warranty, no cosmetics. They have free, their first oil change is free on them as well for you. They have financing solutions for you as well. And they have newly inspected vehicles, and as-is vehicles do not exist at Giambalvo. No, they check out those vehicles and make sure they are ready for you, whether it's that SUV, whether it's that sedan, whatever the reason is that you want to buy a new pre-owned vehicle, Jack Giambalvo has it for you. And you know what else? They don't have people hassle you while you're there. No, they do not. They don't have people who put pressure on you while you're there. They have people who want to help you make the choice that you want to make, and they will inform you and help you out along the way. GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com is where you want to go. Jack Giambalvo started it all 50 years ago. It's a gold standard for the community, and John Giambalvo's continuing it all on. GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com is where you need to go today, and then head on out to one of those 6 great locations. Giambalvo is ready for you, and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. Just getting out of bed? This will help. Welcome back. Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It is Pack the Park night tonight at the stadium here at WellSpan Park. We invite you to come out. 717-801-HITS is where you can go to call right now. You go to YorkRevolution.com or KindnessWorldwide.org. Get those tickets for tonight. I think that rain just might, for the most part, stay away. And, of course, York against High Point tonight. But we've got all kinds of festivities, things happening to celebrate kindness here in the community. First 1,000 people into the stadium tonight are going to get free T-shirts with the rock on the back, that program Kevin Smith's been talking about. Kevin's going to be out here tonight all over the place. I'll be interviewing him before the game. Mayor Sandy Walker is going to be here tonight to issue a proclamation. We'll be talking to her. She'll be our guest tonight. I'm going to be throwing out the first pitch here as a worldwide ambassador for kindness. I'll be throwing my fastball will be the talk of the town tomorrow. It will be. I'm pretty sure. I hope that radar gun has 3 digits on it. The first digit will be 0. Second digit will probably be a 2. And maybe a 5. A 25-mile-an-hour fastball that will mesmerize whoever is catching that tonight. It'll start at, I guess we'll be throwing it about 6:15. My fastball, I'll leave my hand at 6:15, should be there by 6:16 to the catcher's mitt. So that's how confident I am in that tonight. But all that happening here tonight at the stadium, and we're looking forward to having you out here. Darryl Henry, by the way, will bring you everything from 6:10 and 6:30. But you don't need to worry about that because you're going to be here at the stadium listening to the game and watching it yourself, because I know you want to get out here tonight and pack the seats for kindness here this evening on the Gary. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be talking about that in the Gary Sutton Show. And I'm sure Darryl will be talking about my fastball a lot.
It's National Bacon Lovers Day.
More than you're talking about it, by the way.
Really.
Yeah, I know.
Lemonade Day.
Yeah.
And National Radio Day.
Yeah. And, of course, Augie's Joint, the proud sponsor of this hour here on the Gary Sutton Show. And Brent Fleming will be out here tonight, Augie, with his crowd. And we're looking forward to having him out here tonight. But I do want to remind you, and Brent sent me this today, the Georgia Peach Dog is up there today, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Chipotle cream cheese, bacon, diced red onion, peach, and peach hot sauce. This dog is worth the trip. Plus, their burger special, they have burger flights, 3 sliders of your choice, the Augie Burger, the Cowboy Burger, the Classic, or the GSP, the Gary Sutton Show Burger. And try any combo this week. Upgrade to tater tots and a cookie and a drink, and you will be glad you did. By the way, Tuesday the 25th, they will be closed for the last time this summer because they have to visit Mom one more time this summer. Then after that, it is Augie's Joint, Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and for the great delicacies out there that Augie is cooking up for you. I will see you tonight. Mark will be here tonight. He'll see you tonight at the game. Pack the Park for Kindness Night. Get your tickets right now, 717-801-HITS, or go to YorkRevolution.com or stop out here at the Shipley Energy offices. I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. Go Revs, go Kindness. I'm Gary Sutton. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock here on WOYK. It is 9 o'clock.